Insulin. What's the real secret to insulin and fat loss? What if I told you that losing 16 pounds in 6 weeks has nothing to do with counting calories, measuring portions, or spending hours at the gym? Today, I'm breaking down the insulin trick that finally makes fat loss feel effortless. The same approach that's helped thousands of people over the age of 40 to completely transform their bodies. So by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why your body won't release fat, even when you're eating healthy. And more importantly, you're going to know the simple steps to fix this problem. I'm Voysey, and this is about taking control of your metabolism. I'm filming this today from the Ordino Arcolis ski area in Andorra. Andorra is where I live. I don't live right up here in the mountain, but I live a couple of thousand feet further down. But I'm not skiing today either, but my son Oscar is here somewhere. He's picked the best day of the week for it as well, because it's glorious weather today and sunny skies, fabulous conditions, and they've even opened the slopes a week early because we've had so much snow already. So chapter 1, the problem. Why everything you've been told and everything you've tried before has failed you. So here's what nobody tells you. If you've got excess fat on your body, you have elevated insulin. Full stop. And insulin is your master fat storing hormone. There is no other hormone that makes and stores fat the way that insulin does. You can have thyroid issues, you can be estrogen dominant, but if you don't address the insulin, you're not going to be burning fat. Think about this. You can eat the same number of calories in pancakes as you do in a steak, and you'll get fat from eating the pancakes. You won't get fat from eating the steak. Why is that? Because it's not about calories, and it never was. It's about what these foods instead do to your insulin. So the pancakes spike your blood sugar through the roof. Your body produces massive amounts of insulin to deal with all that sugar. And insulin's job is to store that energy as fat. This is how humans have survived for millions of years. So the steak, it breaks down slowly, minimal insulin response. Your body actually uses it to build muscle and structure. And by the way, meat doesn't rot in your colon either. It doesn't hide out in corners causing cancer. It breaks down in your stomach and your small intestine, and then it gets absorbed as amino acids, and your body uses it for the jobs it needs to do. But here's where it gets really interesting. And this is something that most people don't seem to realise. If you need somebody to hold you accountable and tailor this to your specific situation, I work one-on-one with my clients worldwide via Zoom. There's a link down in the description to book a free discovery call. The hidden trap. Health foods that make you fat. The worst part is that people think they're being healthy. I used to be one of these exact people. Sweet potatoes, overnight oats, chia seed pudding, protein shakes with dubious chemical ingredients, almond milk smoothies, avocado toast. In your body, these act no differently than ice cream. Same insulin response, same fat storage, and I see this constantly in my practice. Women working out religiously, eating what Instagram tells them is clean, and they're bloated and they're exhausted with fat layered over their muscles. They can't figure out what they're doing wrong. They believe that their protein shake is the healthy thing to do in the morning. It's not. You need real food. Have the protein shake, but have it to top up after chewing up the real food first. Side note, I do use a whey protein shake if I need a top up. Very useful when I've not been shopping and the fridge is bare and all I've got is a can of sardines. They're not all bad if you can find a clean, minimally processed one with no added rubbishy chemical ingredients. But they are not ever a replacement for real whole foods. There's a discount link down in the description to the organic protein company. They do a whey protein, grass-fed whey protein organic shake, and it's the best one I've found. Have it at the end of the meal to avoid that blood sugar spike. So even fresh fruit, which everyone thinks is nature's healthy sugar, will absolutely make you fat. The fibre doesn't protect you. The vitamins don't offset that massive blood sugar spike. When you eat fruit on an empty stomach, you're literally locking the blood sugar in, overproducing insulin and storing fat. And it's exactly what bears do before they hibernate for the winter, to gain weight, to get them through the cold season. So back in the 90s, I thought fruit was so healthy that I ate nothing but fruit from morning until lunchtime, I was always starving, even though I ate this massive fruit salad for breakfast. But it caused a big blood sugar spike, then a massive blood sugar crash, and an hour later. But you know, we aren't hibernating bears. We're eating fruit all year round rather than just seasonally like the bears do. So fruit that's been also altered, selectively bred to be bigger and juicier and sweeter. Modern fruits contain far more sugar than anything our ancestors ever encountered. The insulin resistance spiral. So here's the vicious cycle that most people are stuck in. You eat the carbs regularly at every meal and your body produces lots and lots of insulin to handle the sugar. At first, you might even experience low blood sugar crashes, hypoglycemia, because you're overproducing insulin and you feel shaky and irritable and desperately hungry. And quickly, because sugar doesn't sustain you for very long, it burns fast like paper. So you eat more carbs to bring your blood sugar levels back up. But eventually your system breaks. You've produced too much insulin for too long and your body starts to fight back. It develops resistance. That's your insulin resistance. And if you keep going, it becomes type 2 diabetes. And it doesn't even take very long for this to happen. Scary, right? Now, they used to call this adult onset diabetes or late onset diabetes, but they had to change the name. Do you know why? Because so many children are now developing it. Children, yeah, this disease that only used to appear in older adults is now showing up in teenagers and even younger kids. Imagine that a 9-year-old gets adult onset diabetes and it's not even rare. I mean, what kind of a future does a child like this have to look forward to? That should tell you everything you need to know about what we're feeding ourselves and our children. So many experts believe this is where all of our chronic disease stems from. Alzheimer's, cancer, heart disease, it's metabolic dysfunction at a cellular level. And we have quadrillions of those cells in our bodies, and it's shifted dramatically since we started eating higher or highly processed, selectively bred plants. And these plants are not being even grown in actual soil rich in muck and microbes, but in artificial environments with the assistance of chemical fertilizers and pesticides and herbicides, and of course the ubiquitous glyphosate. Little anecdote here. I had an aunt, actually she was married to my mum's cousin, and she died sadly prematurely last year from a whole host of awful diseases and things that she had wrong with her. And she famously said to my mum a couple of years ago, "Oh, no, I don't ever eat organic food. Do you know what they grow that in?" She was horrified by the idea that organic food is grown in rotted manure from animals. She preferred the chemical route. So glyphosate, that herbicide in Roundup, it's now everywhere. It's in our soil, it's in our water, it's in our rain. They found it in human breast milk and in the umbilical cords of newborn babies. We are all carrying this chemical in our bodies and it's disrupting our gut bacteria and damaging our metabolic health. We've moved a very long way away from our species-appropriate food, which was meat with a bit of plants. Sorry, vegetarians and vegans, don't shoot the messenger. I too would love a world where we didn't have to kill anything to be able to thrive, but we did evolve because we are animals. Stop. The solution. The insulin trick that actually works. So, right, back to insulin and how do we fix this situation? How do you get your insulin right so that fat loss becomes effortless? Step 1, cut the carbs. I mean, really cut them. The bread, the pasta, the potatoes, the white and the whole grain rice, the sweet potatoes, the beans, the spelt, the quinoa, they all spike your blood sugar just like a cupcake does. If you want to see results fast, try going strict carnivore for an entire month. Not only will you balance your insulin, but you'll sleep better, your skin will improve, your mood will stabilise, and you'll look better. Step 2, prioritise protein, specifically meat. Carbs make fat. Meat makes muscle. Really simple and easy to understand. When you look at your plate, you see potatoes. Visualise the fat that's going to end up in your belly, your thighs, your arms. That's what carbs do to us. They're very easy to overeat. And us humans, being greedy and living in this carb-abundant world, tend to do just that. Meat breaks down to both glucose and amino acids. Your body gets the fuel it needs, but it also gets the building blocks for muscles and organs and bones. The average woman needs around 120 grams of protein a day. Some need considerably more. You'll know you found your sweet spot when you're sleeping well, feeling energized and burning fat without feeling hungry all the time and without cravings. You need to track it to see where you're at. And whilst you're eating all this protein, throw in some organ meats. Liver, kidney, these are absolute powerhouses of vitamins and minerals that will support your metabolic health. Our ancestors prized them, hunters at them first. Now, most people don't even touch them, which is mad because they're nutrient dense, they're really cheap, and your body recognises them as proper food. Even if you just eat them once a week, it makes a huge difference. And if the taste puts you off, you can mix minced liver into your beef mince. You won't even notice it. Or you can take capsules, grass-fed liver capsules. Step 3, mind your fat intake. This surprises some people, but too much added fat is actually going to block you from getting into ketosis and burning your own body fat for fuel. You need adequate healthy fat, of course. There's no need to fear it. Around 60% of your intake by default when eating fatty meat, but you don't need to add sticks of butter on top. Look at nature. Wild game is lean. The exception? Fatty fish, and there's a reason for that. The DHA is essential. It literally builds every cell in your body. So eat your meat with its natural fat. Include fatty fish like sardines and mackerel for your omega-3s. But don't drown everything in added fats. I mean, you can use some, you just don't want to be using loads and loads of it. Nature already got the balance just right. Step 4, stop eating so frequently. Ideally, you just want to eat 2 meals a day. Finish your last meal by 5 or 6 p.m. in the evening if you're trying to lose weight. Why? Because when insulin is elevated, melatonin, the sleep hormone, can't come out. You won't sleep well, and poor sleep destroys your metabolism. Just one night of bad sleep can tip you over into pre-diabetes the very next day. And the idea that we need to eat and snack all day long, which was introduced by our great leaders a few decades ago, is utterly bonkers. Eat, stop, digest. Repeat when you get properly hungry again. Now, here's where I'm going to lose some of you, but do stick with me because this does matter. Coffee. Everyone's doing coffee and everyone's sick. Coffee forces your body to overproduce cortisol. You're literally running from a tiger every time you drink it. That fight or flight response lasts 4 to 8 hours in your system. So if you can't have a bowel movement without drinking coffee, then that's a problem. Your body's trying to evacuate a toxic substance. And yes, I know this is controversial. People are addicted to coffee as they are to sugar, maybe even more so. But the women who quit coffee, their sex drive comes back, they feel calmer, the redness around their nose and face disappears, their skin improves dramatically. I still have my one morning cup of coffee. I'm not a monk, but there's a massive difference between 1 cup and treating your bloodstream like a caffeine superhighway. If your health isn't where you want it to be, coffee might be the first thing to examine. And apparently the best way to drink coffee for health benefits, as it does have some, is black, which is, for me, is absolute yuck. I can't bear it, so I always have to add butter or cream to mine. Protein powder, handled with care, with great care. It's pulverized, processed protein, and a lot of it has very questionable addictive ingredients added, which can cause a massive insulin spike when drunk on an empty stomach. So much higher than eating actual food in actual fact that you have to chew up. The proof and the payoff. Now, how do you know this works? You track your ketones. Use Keto Mojo, Keto Sense, they're my favourite blood testers. Definitely not the pea sticks because they're hideously inaccurate. So blood testing is like finger prick blood testing is the only really accurate method. Breath testing can give you a good ballpark idea if you use a good quality machine like Ketonics, which is made in Sweden. When your ketones are up, you're burning fat. Humans should naturally burn both glucose and ketones simultaneously. That's metabolic nirvana. So for general health, you want your ketones to be around 0.3 to 0.8. And if you've got fat to lose, you want to be a bit higher. 1 and above, but not too high. We don't want to see them consistently up at 3 or 4 because then you risk burning muscle. So what does this look like in real life? Well, I've worked with men and women who've completely transformed their health through this approach. Symptoms gone, medications, supplements reduced or eliminated. They feel remarkable, and the pattern is consistent. When you get your insulin right, everything else falls into place. The movement piece and your final strategy. So movement accelerates everything, but you don't need to kill yourself at the gym. Walk. Our ancestors apparently walked 7 miles a day. I'm not sure who measured that stuff, but aim for 30 minutes to an hour in the morning plus 30 minutes in the evening. You know, if you've got time for it, don't overthink it. You don't need fancy watches, or you don't need to track it. You just need to walk somewhere as beautiful as possible and try to incorporate your walking into your daily life. Leave the car at home whenever possible. Add some weight or weight-bearing exercise, so build muscle. Muscle requires fuel, so your body burns through stored fat, which is just the meals you've eaten already, so excess energy that you've stored. So adding a weighted vest to your walks is a win-win. As we lose weight, our metabolism down-regulates. So to adjust to your new lighter weight, but to prevent that from happening, you can add weight in the place of a weighted vest to replace the fat that you've lost. Keeps you working harder and building muscle. And in the evening, wear those blue light blockers, candles instead of bright LED lights. This is going to tell your brain that the sun has set, which is going to help your melatonin production. Remember, that's your sleep hormone, which will improve your sleep, which will improve your metabolism. It's all connected. Just don't set fire to the house in the process if you've gone down the candle route. So here's a challenge. Why don't you try strict carnivore for just 3 days? It takes about 72 hours for your body to use up all the stored sugars. So see how much better in 3 days you start sleeping. Notice how your hunger stabilizes. Pay attention to your energy. You don't have to commit forever, but you're never going to know what your body is actually capable of and what it actually needs unless you try. Because here's the truth. It's remarkable how little you have to do when you get your insulin right. That's root cause healing. So from Ordino Arcalis, thank you so much for watching. I've been fasting for 24 hours, so I'm now back off home for a protein-packed lunch. I'll see you in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did enjoy this, you might like to watch one of these 2 next. Till next time, nourish, don't punish, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.